Okay, welcome folks. Welcome to the Launch Partners Connection call. Today is what, August 26th? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong.
25th. 25th. We have one more day, Michael.
Okay, 25th. Time is just zipping by. This summer has been like a blur. Ben is struggling to connect with bad signal strength. He's on an English country road, which he thinks is a dead zone. Okay, well, we'll carry on anyway. Myself, Bernadette, we both have a few things we want to talk about. Let me start by giving you guys some heads up information that I was authorized to go ahead and tell you today. You're going to find this very interesting and exciting. First of all, there will be an announcement on the September kickoff call that prices will go up across the board 3.5%. So that's a normal annual type of thing, but it is happening in September. But the most interesting thing is really in lieu of conversations that have happened with corporate about getting some type of a startup scenario going for somebody who's new, but keep it customer centric so that it could apply either to the new consultant and or a new customer. And our CEO came up with something kind of interesting, which kills many birds with one stone. So let me give you the different facets that I see in the advantages. There will be a price increase on the waterfall and the replacement components, as well the PyMag sports bottle, but it won't be a 3.5% increase. It'll be a considerably more increase. So let me give you the numbers so you have a better appreciation for where this is coming from, where this is going. Currently, the waterfall numbers are $256 retail, $205 wholesale. So that's like a $51 retail markup. The PV of that is $205, which is a 70% CV. Many of you have discussed the idea of somehow increasing the CV on items, especially when it comes to, say, a startup situation when somebody's getting started in the business. Typically what happens in a startup is companies discount the CV because they want to give a kicker, a bonus of some kind, or a reduced price of some kind. Leakend's going the opposite direction. That's not surprising, but it's actually kind of interesting. The new retail price for the waterfall will be $419 retail. The wholesale will be $335. Somebody quick with a calculator can do the math on the retail markup, which is a jump in retail markup. The PV will be $335, which is 90% CV, which means leadership bonuses and commissions in terms of rebates, the comp plan, will move from a 70% CV to a 90% CV on one of our more popular items. That means more money to go around for everyone who's marketing and promoting this and receiving residuals. And since the water is such a key component to our strategy going forward, water and sleep, this is a great advantage from a business building perspective. To the end consumer, I don't think it matters, simply because this is a unique technology. And if you actually go out and price it, you'll find that our Niken waterfall is still way below market, what the market will bear. So this will bring it more in line with what the market will bear, which is, I think, appropriate for the quality of our product and the uniqueness of our product. But more importantly, it feeds the network marketing business model and puts more money in everybody's pocket for marketing and promoting this. But there's more. This represents a 63% increase in PV, a 65% increase in retail profit, and a 110% increase in leadership bonus. So all the more reason to suggest people start up their Niken wellness experience with one of our highest quality products and unique products, our waterfall. Currently, sports bottle numbers are $50 retail, $40 wholesale. It's a $10 retail profit, 40 PV, and 60% CV. The new price will be $79 retail, $63 wholesale. So that's a $16 profit instead of a $10 profit. 63 PV, 23 points higher, and 80% CV. Again, the kind of numbers that we used to have prior to the reduction in price points to the retail market, which, by the way, most of you know, haven't really made that big of an impact, because as the consumers first learning about Niken, they don't really have anything to compare it to. I got you on me just reach out there. Okay. Let me tell you how this goes further. So this represents a 58% increase in PV, a 60% increase in retail profit, and 110% increase in in the leadership bonus. $3.02 versus $1.44. But here's the nice thing. They're going to combine it as a set, a waterfall and a sports bottle. When sold as a set, the retail profit is $100. So that's a quick way of showing somebody they can make $100 by selling the waterfall / sports bottle as a set, which allows them then to have water at home and water on the go. It's actually smart. But here's the neat thing about the business. In addition to create better focus and attention on the QE, quality enrollment scenario, which is 500 points, Niken is going to give the set 500 PV. So if you actually added it up individually, 63 PV and 335 PV, that's 400 and well, it's almost 400 points. Not quite 400 points, but they're going to give it 500 points value if sold as a set. Well, how does that encourage behavior? So essentially now we have the number, the 500 that we're trying to meet for our QE. We have that number for somebody getting started at the very beginning because the Power Start bonus is 500 QE points, right? That's a QE. So that essentially reimburses their sign-up fee. So this combination pack will become a real focal point for promoting both for the retail and for getting somebody started in the business. Here's what it looks like if you're a newbie in the business. If you sold one set per week for 3 months, they'd break silver and earn $1,200 in retail profit in the process. After the first 1,500 points, of course, they would get a 10% rebate. So in addition, they would get $316 in the form of rebates as a result of this activity. So, that's about $1,500 in income for somebody just doing the direct sales side of the business. If they sell 2 sets a week, they become silver in 6 weeks, and then they can earn that 20% rebate, which is double the amount instead of 10%. So a good strategy all around to have a 500-point pack that focuses on one of our strongest products in the marketplace. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, our #1 selling durable item. Still getting some feedback noise. Let me mute that line there. There we go. I also want to remind everybody before we move on that this being a focal point, I don't know if you guys have ordered your cards yet, but we now have the sports bottle card, we have the waterfall card, and on the back side of each is the benefits of Pi Water. Okay, and if you can look at that, it also is, there we go. It's customized. So it has your name, telephone number, website information on it. So this is now doubly valuable as a resource to be able to market and promote this technology and get the sales of this particular item going. And this will be effective September 1. So that's what they're going to be announcing. Okay, so I do want to shift gears before we take any questions. We'll come back to that. Bernadette, we were talking with Ben earlier, and I'm not sure if Ben has actually made the line. I don't see yet. I'm going to say, unless it's the 612 number. Ben, are you on? No, he's not on. Okay. We were, Bernadette, maybe you can pick up on the conversation that we had with Ben with respect to the volume being generated right now from retail sales and where that might be falling short for some of you.
Yeah, I mean, we know one of the topics that we're discussing is, very often people, we create retail sales, but they tend to be a one-time purchase from customers versus really creating the regular volume. And that is something that we all need to put our attention on, because the one-time purchase is great, but it's all about creating, loyalty with our customers and longevity. We've all heard, it takes a lot more work to create a new customer than to keep it. and we need to really look at that. So what is it that we're doing that allow us to really develop that long-term relationship with our customers. I know that is also something that's very important, is not only it's the follow-up. I think instead of seeing an order as a transaction, maybe we need to look at it, it's not a transaction, it's just the beginning of the journey. So it's in our communication. I think it's very important to, when somebody starts with the product, is I like always to ask people is, what do you want to do? And look at it not only short term but long term, right? So it's a journey versus I'm selling you a product for today. And I think that's really important. And then is really getting into the rhythm of connecting with them on a regular basis. You know, what I do is when somebody order a product is, once I know they received it, I give them like 2-3 days. Then I give them a call to find out how they're enjoying, if they have any questions, that type of things. And then a month later, you know, I may give them a call. I also have them included in a newsletter that they receive. And, you know, now with Niken's blog and so many things, there's so much valuable information that we get from them. So creating a newsletter, whether you choose to use Niken's blog, you know, make it easy. If you're not into creating a newsletter of your own, no problem. Just forward that into your newsletter. But I think it's really important to do that. And the regular orders come from the order sheet, from the consumable. So that also is fun. If, you know, little tips, if somebody, we're talking about the water is one of my favorite products, definitely. But right away when somebody orders a waterfall or a water bottle, just offer them to put them on auto ship, you know, 3 months from now, 6 months from now for the filter. So then it's easy for them. It's not, you don't have to think about it. You don't have to remember, make notes somewhere, you know, just create an auto ship for 3-6 months from now or whenever it's necessary. They will appreciate that, because how often do we come across people say, oh, I forgot, I don't have my filter. And right? Well, let's get into the habit. So that, I think it's all about asking permission to the customer, showing them the benefit of doing it that way. So there's lots of little things that we can think of. And then also it's about asking, you know, it's about providing customer service, you know, asking them now that they're enjoying the products, what are they looking at to get to the next step of their well-being, and then going that. So, you know, these are some thoughts that I had, Mike, that I really think are so important. And when we do that and we teach that to the team right from the beginning, you know, very often we don't pay too much attention to it because it's a small order, it's a small, you know, volume, and maybe it seems like a lot of work for the result. But we all understand the effect of the compound, you know, activity. And that's really what it is. You know, the auto ship, the residual takes so much more time to build it. But if we do it regularly that way and we teach it, it's amazing over a period of 6 months even, you know, what happens as a result.
I personally find that it takes less time for retail customers than it does for downline for relatively the same volume. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it's a time loser or a time waster by any stretch. And the other thing is, you're not dealing with emotions when it comes to consumers as much as you are with consultants who are dealing with rejection or personal development or their first time in business or whatever it is that's going on. So our consumer base is a growing base, and it's not a transient base as much as is a consultant base. A consultant often ends up just being a consumer. So we need to recognize the value of the increasing customer base is ultimately the goose that lays the golden egg for you in terms of your residual and your long-term income. So there has to be a strategy from day one, even though it's minimalistic, that penny doubling principle is real. What's your game plan for customers for life? Call it whatever you will, customers for life, because with wellness, there's a beginning and no end. With the wellness home, it has a starting point and no ending point. So regardless of how they get their experience with Niken, if you're not going into the situation with a consumer, looking at the consumer for life and the value of that relationship for life, then you're going to not have a program to follow up with, and therefore that's going to fall through the cracks, and you're going to lose on the valuable compounding effect of consumers. So we want to create a seed, a kernel of an idea that begins with every new business that we get started, and it becomes as important, as valuable as any of the processes that we have. You'll note that most of the tools that we've put together in the Life in Balance tools are recruiting tools. The emphasis there is to build a downline. The reason being because the pendulum had swung so far over to building a customer base that we forgot the fundamental of the business is to grow an organization. But in recognition of the need to have a robust program for consumers, we put in play the catalog is back in circulation, which, by the way, to my surprise, and maybe shouldn't be to my surprise, because Kurt sort of warned me that it's not a big selling item, and he's right. Even though everybody's demanding the catalog, we need the catalog. When it comes down to it, you guys aren't circulating those catalogs as you should be. You're sort of covetous of it. You're not looking at it as an investment in terms of the long-term play for that consumer. A consumer is somebody who buys the entire Nikken catalog over time. A consultant is somebody who buys the Nikken catalog over a shorter period of time. But the end in mind is still they're going to have everything Nikken has. So whether they buy it over a short period of time or a long period of time, the goal is to create those sales and duplicate that procedure through your organization. So just today, just to put an exclamation mark and underscore a point, and that is that consumers and consumer follow-up and the ongoing development of that customer into a loyal wellness consumer, and Nikken Wellness Home consumer, particularly one who's on auto ship, it becomes a focal point for longevity of your business, and the health of your business in terms of your income. The idea now of this new promo pack, this idea of we can get somebody started on water, initiates the action, as Bernadette was saying, for an auto ship, because they're going to need replacement parts in 3 months if they're on the sports bottle, and in 6 months if they're on the waterfall. That goes without saying. I think what we want to do, and what I'd like to emphasize where this point is concerned, is stop being so shy. We tend to be extremely conservative in Nikken, like they're doing us a favor if they bought something. And I want to remind you that you're doing them a favor for introducing them to something that can maybe save their life, or at least give them a quality of life they otherwise would never have had. So we're doing them a favor by doing the work that we're doing. That's the noble cause of what it is that we're doing. We're not asking them to buy something they don't need. We're not asking them to buy something that they're not going to value. We're bringing incredible value to the equation, and I think we should treat it that way by being much more robust in our approach and insistence on people doing the right thing for themselves. They don't know what that is. They're relying on us to tell them what that is. And so be more forward about that. Go ahead, Bernadette.
Yes, one thing I'd like to add to what you're saying, Mike, which is we're too shy. I agree with you. The field is too shy. And I think one of the concern is a lot of time it's our own perception of selves. Do we see ourselves as a hardcore salesperson, or do we see ourselves as an advisor, or do we see ourselves as someone who is providing a service to others? The sales is the result of the service we provide. I really believe that. I remember I was so, not for the sale, which is one of the reasons I always said I would never be in sales and all that, and look at what I'm doing. And I really believe I'm very good in terms of getting people started and teaching that to the team. And interesting enough, what I was the most afraid of is one of the things that I do really well. But what is it that happened in my mind was when I realized it was not about making the sale. It was about providing the best advice and service to people that is to their best interest. And when I always focus on that, I realized that actually the sales was just the result of the advice that I was providing. I think a lot of time it's our own perception of ourselves and the work that we do that is getting in the way, and that makes us very shy. And that I think is really important. Is that why I'm afraid of? Because I'm selling the product. Well, in that case, you need to probably look at the wordings in it. I'm not selling a product. I'm providing a service, and I'm not doing something to the people, I'm doing something for them. And that, I think, is a huge, a shift towards adjustment that we need to teach the field as well. That because then the result is just, it's just the result of the process of information and discovery.
Thanks, Bernadette. Let's take some questions from anyone who might have something regarding the announcements today.
I had a question about the catalog, Michael. You have the new prices September 1st?
Don't know.
Don't know. I mean, in the new catalog.
Don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't have the new catalog as of yet, and I don't know that they're going to include the prices or anything like that. So until I actually have a copy, I won't know.
Just to state the obvious.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Dave.
I was just going to say, stating the obvious, what's running through my mind and probably everyone else is about a half a dozen people for some reason are sitting on the fence for the 256 price. And so I think we should finish this month with some pretty good waterfall sales. So
Especially
pretty excited about it.
shipping, especially with free shipping over the, is it $250 order? That's on the blog. As long as it has Siaga in it. So if you put an order of Siaga and a waterfall, you have free shipping for both.
Well, and Annie Ing did an amazing presentation on Bergistrol and the Siaga. So that's an easy link to find. So share that along and get people on auto ship with that. So awesome.
Exactly. Definitely a strong month-end push for the waterfall and the sports bottle if you're looking for a price saver, as well as the fact that we're going to go up in price by 3.5% on all the products. So if they're looking to make a decision, now would be the time to call them back and say, hey, I just got some inside information. There's going to be a price hike on September 1. Now's the time to decide. I just want to also mention that bonus volume that comes with the purchase of the two starting September, you're getting 500 points credit for what would otherwise be 398 points. That's a significant kicker that really helps accelerate someone who's looking to move up the compensation plan quickly. In other words, of all the products there are, in terms of the dollars invested from any point of view, whether it's wholesale or retail, to the PV yield, this is the highest yielding product we now have in the entire catalog for turning a business partner into an executive, into a silver, etc. And if you combine that with the promos or the incentives that are in play right now, this should help also facilitate some new silvers in those programs. And so create some focus there, guys. This is a real benefit.
Michael, we still order our catalogs through Life and Balance Tools?
As far as I know, it's the only place you can get them.
Okay.
Mike, this is Yoko, may I just add a point about perception and my own perception and what
Sure.
you just brought up? Today, you just made a great point, because 12 years I've been retailing, okay? And I basically have been knocking my head on the door trying to develop launch partners, because I have consultants, but they're not launch partners. The point you made today is really, you and Bernadette, is really, really true. I have been servicing customers. And so in essence, I guess that's how I've survived, in my silver qualification every month. So the point I'm making here is perception is really, really key. I mean, in other words, like Bernadette said, I don't feel like I'm selling. I feel I've always been consulting. And that might help everybody.
Excellent. And hey, listen, if you could make your qualifications every month through retail, that's a strong business. Mm-hmm. But of course, you want to turn that engine on for expansion into the partnering. And by the way, what is that? That's about selling people on an opportunity to make money. And I want to just make another point to one that I've already made through the Launch Partners WhatsApp chat, that book that David sent me. Thanks again, Dave. The most recent copy of Richard Bliss, whatever his name is, Bliss Brook, his wife's version, the female version of the 4-year career, I think is particularly written well for women. I read it through because I wanted to see what it would be like from their point of view, and I think it's an excellent read for women, and it'll definitely turn a lot of heads on to Nikken or onto network marketing, which ultimately, if you're the person providing them this information, means NECAN. Thanks for holding that up, Barb. That's a winner. This book is a winner for helping you go back to your customer base, which is really how this book has been showcased. Is a young man in an essential oils business in Canada, out of Calgary, who went back to his customer base and said, you love the products already, you're probably telling people about it, why not make some money at it? And use this book to explain the logistics of that. So for Yoko, for instance, yourself, who has a great customer base, it's a great gift as a follow-up to some of your customers and say, you know, been a great customer, you love the products. I don't know if you're adverse to making some money, but you're probably telling people about it anyway. I thought you might like this read. It was written specifically for women, might help you see what it is that you need to see to make that decision. And bang, you can now have a recruiting engine working in the background of your customer base.
That's what's so great. Just that little bit you just said, or like Bernadette, you got to do that recording again. Just certain words you guys use. It sounds so, I mean, it just flows, and it doesn't sound like I'm selling you, you know, or I'm pushing you. Thank you.
You know, my technique is simple. I talk to myself, except I say it out loud. So I'm saying something I'd want to hear that wouldn't tick me off, or that would impress me, or that would interest me. That's how I know what to say, because I'm talking to myself.
Good point. Thank you.
All right. Well, guys, I'm showing 12:28. We got 2 minutes left. Anyone want to add? Okay. Dave Rolfe, nice to see you. Kind of see you. Your picture, anyway. Thanks for joining the call.
Nice to see you too, Michael.
I hope to see you in San Antonio. By the way, that's coming up quick, guys. If you have not already made your tickets, get that done. But also the note on the Launch Partners chat today about getting registered for those little video clips. They're really good. They make the average person look well above average. So I would strongly advise you, before those time slots are gone, to make your move on that. With that, Bernadette, thanks for contributing to our call, and everyone else. Everybody have a great weekend. Have an amazing month. And remember, focus on the fact that the products are going to jump in price. Get back to people. Let them know about that. And let's get on with it. Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.